I have a database of all the Northern Wisconsin State Fair performers. Actually, the fair put together a whole list in it was like an anniversary publication they had a few years ago. So I'm like, ooh, let's see who all has performed over all the decades of the fair. So I jotted it all down and I just quick brought it up. I'm like, I know Styx has performed, but when? From what I can see, the band has not been in Chippewa Falls since 1977. Summer of
yeah. That's very surprising when you think of all the shows that we do. We do over 100 shows a year. So that is quite remarkable. So it just means that people are going to be even that much more enthralled with the epic adventure that's about to come their way.
Right. And Dennis DeYoung was here a few years ago. So the music of Styx and one of the voices of Styx, of course, has been here. We haven't had the band Styx at all since. Well, that would have been right around the time of the Grand Illusion. Again, if the record keeping is right, and I trust that it is. So, what? I mean, the obvious question would be, so how is Styx going to be different for Northern Wisconsin State Fair people for the first time since 1977? Well, I mean, a little bit, obviously.
First of all, we the guys that were in the band then, they look exactly as they did back then. There's no change whatsoever.
Nice.
Absolutely. Nothing has changed at all. Their guitars are vintage now, but their bodies are absolutely in tip-top shape, and you'd never know that time has passed at all. I think that one of the major differences, Luke, is, we've had a life. I've been in the band now 25 years. This is my 25th year, actually. And even over the course of that part of my era with Styx, which is just about comprises half the life of the band. The band has been around for 52 years, and so over half a century of music. Just having played around the world so many times and seen audiences, everywhere. Sweden, Japan, England, America, Canada. When I get lucky and they come to my country, it's amazing to see just how enthralled people are with a Styx show, and how it just puts them into a very, very blissful state, and that's, I guess, it's with all of that kind of legacy that the band performs now, and audiences. I mean, we just played last night to another, sea of thousands of smiling faces with their arms in the air, and that really just goes to show the longevity of the band. And we, the other thing is, there's such I'll use JY's quote, there's such an embarrassment of riches to play a great Styx songs in any show that people are going to really love that, all the way from, as you said, from back at Grand Illusion, or actually go all the way back to Crystal Ball, right up until, last year's Crash of the Crown album, which was a number one record on Billboard on the rock album chart. So there's been this long history of successful music connecting with people, and that's what people are going to encounter.
Well, and we were talking about Crash of the Crown in that last interview, and it had just come out at the time. So now, with obviously time to have passed and settling in, which song, I mean, I could do the whole, look back on it, and I mean, what is your general perspective on that? And have any songs over, now we can say, the years, risen up as more fan favorites or even band favorites from that album?
Yeah, it's that album, Crash of the Crown, it's kind of a moving target when it comes to choosing a favorite song. There's a lot of, the Styx music. So it shifts. I remember early on in the record, I really loved listening to Coming Out the Other Side, which I thought was a great way of expressing what people were kind of emotionally engaging with at the end of 2020. But I'd say, I still really gravitate toward the title track, because it's a song where JY takes the first lead vocal, then Tommy Shaw takes the second part, and I take the third part. There's lots of, signature Styx harmonies throughout. But the song, it goes through, it has this pop sensibility, but in a progressive rock package, so to speak, because it takes so many twists and turns that lead to great theatrical moments in the show. So that still comes out number one for me.
How have crowds evolved even further? When we were chatting, this was just as concerts were kind of getting going. It was still kind of nascent in the in the pandemic. Well, now we're 2 years past that. The pandemic's officially considered over. You've got a whole lot of concerts going on. The Taylor Swift thing is a phenomenon. So yes, concerts are back, clearly. What have you guys noticed touring as often as you have? You were saying that there seemed to be more audience excitement. Well, now as more time has gone on, what have you seen even further as these years have gone by?
Yeah, great question. There was this incredibly palpable emotional release that you felt in people, particularly in 2021 when we started again. What's happened is, I think the experience of a great rock show and what it does for your life, I think, has deepened in people's estimation. I think it's become more than just a passive entertainment. It really is, and I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but you are engaging with the soundtrack of your life, and there's something about the mystery of that, or what music does to people, that I think that experience has been felt in a more profound way. Now, having said that, the 2020, that's become a distant memory to people. I don't feel that with people anymore. They seem to have kind of relegated that to a place in their own personal history, however they got through it. But tonight, okay, so before we get to you guys, we're playing in Milwaukee. It's the largest crowd they've ever had for this big summer festival they have here called Summerfest. Yeah, that's pretty remarkable. That we've been warned both by our management and our agent. It's going to take quite a while to get in, and definitely to leave that venue tonight, because they've oversold. So I don't know what is going to be there. There could be something to the 40,000 or something of that nature. So this just means that people, they want to come out and have that live experience. What happens at a live rock concert is the greatest form of entertainment that I've ever encountered, and I think everyone is really taking that to another level of enjoyment.
Yeah, Summerfest is wild. It's been a long time since I've been there. But yeah, it's definitely a happening down there. The cool thing in Wisconsin is too, we have these regional state fairs, the Central Wisconsin, and I'm not sure if you guys have performed at some of the others, but there's a Central Wisconsin State Fair, and then of course ours, the Northern Wisconsin State Fair. That they stand their own. I mean, they're events. Maybe they're not Summerfest level, but they're pretty big events. Have you been to anything here in the western part of the state, a little bit east of the Twin Cities? In your career, have you ever found your way to the western part, like Eau Claire, Chippewa Falls area?
Oh yes, we've played in Eau Claire a good number of times, and Chippewa Falls. But
right. Was it Country Jam?
Yeah. Yes. There you go. I have to tell you, we play every type of venue there is. We played a couple of Super Bowls. There's that, and then all the hockey arenas across North America. Usually in the wintertime, every theater. But there's what I love about Styx is there's no elitism when it comes to what kind of venue. So we love the summer fairs are so much fun. They're just the atmosphere, everything about it is just it's a life experience. It really is. So we really, really love them, and we play so many. I look forward to them every single year so much, because they're so joyful, and people are in such a great frame of mind, and it's a whole event, as you said.
What is something? Okay, and I was reading an interview with you I think it was with Goldmine, and talking about how the tours are constantly evolving. There's something always new. So if someone saw you, let's say from when we were last chatting a couple years ago, and it was the Twin Cities concert. Now they're going to be, maybe they're from around here, they're going to be going to Chippewa Falls, going to the State Fair concert. So what's going to be different this time around from even last year or the year before?
Every single year, obviously you're never going to go to a Styx show where you don't hear Renegade and Come Sail Away and Grand Illusion, and now for the last number of years, Mr. Robato's been in there, and Blue Collar Man and Fooling Yourself. Too Much Time in My Hands. I can keep going. Those songs are in every single show. It's really how they're presented every year that changes ever so slightly. And if we we all seem to have our minds on somehow improving last night's show, even by 1% the next night. Well, over 100 shows in a year, that does accumulate. That's there's compound interest on that, I guess you'd say, as far as the quality of the show goes. I would say other things, other factors would be the fact. Take, for example, there's a part in the show now, and we don't do this every night, but quite often Tommy Shaw will sing. There's a new song called "Sound the Alarm" that ties beautifully, dovetails straight into Crystal Ball. So you're connecting. That's a 46-year span between those two songs, and one seems to really complement the other, and really kind of like two bookends. So things like that evolve over time. Chuck Panazzo is with us more and more. I can never promise for sure that he'll be at any particular show, but he played more shows with us last year than he missed. So his health keeps continually improving, and so things of that nature kind of lend themselves to nuanced differences every single year, and it's probably why people keep coming back, and they can't seem to get enough. A comment I hear quite often is that somehow we seem to exceed whatever we did last year, and that can be in very subtle ways, but we somehow seem to be able to keep those plates spinning.
Last question for you, and I may have seen something referenced online about this, maybe not, maybe I'm confusing it with another band, but since we were talking about newer music, are there any writings going on, any planning for any new projects of any sort?
Luke, we always have new music coming along. It's impossible to turn that tap off. There are dressing room jams that turn into songs or are just forgotten after a week or so. But those new ideas are there all the time. Any tiny little break we have, there's a new song constantly on the back burner and about to move to the front burner. At any given time. So yes, we're always thinking of that. Our record company have already Universal on another record, so that's another great incentive for us to continue on. Really, the resurgence of the newer music we've done with The Mission and with Crash of the Crown, it really it's concurrent with the younger audience that come and see us. And when I say younger, I mean anybody who's under 40, and usually about 2/3 of those people are under 30, and they seem to be the ones that are most excited about getting new music that's concurrent with their experience with Styx, because they've heard the classics and they relate to them and they can see themselves in those songs, but they seem to be the hungriest for newer material that comes along, and so that alone is a great incentive, to keep that going, and we see more and more of those the fresher T-shirts in the audience. Tells us that we must be doing something right.
Well, and I gotta say, it's kind of refreshing to hear the record label wants a new album. Like, in and of itself, that's like great, cool. We'll provide.
It is great. It is. It is. It's very exciting because I know that is not the case in a lot of corners of the music business today, and it really, Universal, they have the whole catalog of records, so it's just yet another. It's another little piece to add to the overall tapestry of what Styx has done over half a century.
Oh, that means there's plenty more to come, and there's going to be plenty to listen to. Of course, you got that Summerfest concert really coming up soon, but then, of course, the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, July 15th, 8 p.m. show in Chippewa Falls. Lawrence, good to talk to you again. Best of luck on this tour. Best of luck at the show at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair, and hope to get the chance to talk to you down the road.
Let's do it again, Luke. Great to talk to you again, and looking